and welcome to another episode of Schiffbauer Over Rocks. Or should I say konnichiwa, because we are sampling
Yes.
a Japanese rice lager. Is that right, Mr. Smith?
You got it. We have a Japanese rice lager. So yeah, konnichiwa.
Ooh, that is interesting.
That is easy drinking. Isn't
Wow, no, that's scary how
it?
easy
Yeah.
that is.
Oh my God, yeah.
And that's from Collusion Tap Works,
That's
correct?
from Collusion. That's actually a one of their most recent beers they released. It's a collaboration with the fine folks over at Prototype Brewing.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, so there we'll put a little plug in for the can. There we go.
So
check it out.
If you haven't realized already, ladies and gentlemen, those listening out there, we're going to talk a lot about beer today. Glenn Smith is the founder of a business called Brewery Tours, and it kind of started off as a passion just because you love beer. Am I right or am I wrong?
That's exactly it. You know, I saw that the community was missing something, and I was specifically told to do something about it by my better half. I don't know if she regrets having told me that now, but it's all her fault.
Well, it's literally like when someone has an idea, oh, that sounds like a great idea. You're the person who actually, take the idea, ran with it, and now all of a sudden it's like this huge opportunity and something that expanded way beyond what you thought originally.
We are going on, I think it's 6 years this coming October, so depending on when you're watching this, October of 24.
Oh, this actually was going to release in October, so this is perfect.
Perfect. Look at that.
We can play around with the scheduling.
It was meant to be.
It really was.
But yeah, so our first tour was 6 years ago, and where we were 6 years ago is nowhere near where we are today, and I would not have envisioned us being where we are. It has taken a lot of turns and curves and jumps and a few potholes along the way, but here we are.
So let's go and walk it back. Talk about what kind of tours you offer now, and then I want to get back to where you started. That's, to me, really interesting with how you've grown this business over time.
Boy, all right. So we have walking tours. We like to call them our walkabouts. So we got a walkabout in York City. We got a walkabout in Lancaster City. We have a fleet of brew buses that traverse central Pennsylvania.
And they're literally buses, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
Little magic school bus-esque buses, but
That's
they're
exactly
pretty
right.
cool.
They're the short school buses. I have personally licked every window, so they're all qualified. So we have our Ales on the Rails program, which we operate on the Northern Central Railway, which is in New Freedom, Pennsylvania.
I had the pleasure of being on that.
You guys did.
That was a really immersive experience.
It's fantastic. It's one of my favorites. And we also have an Ales on the Rails program with the Western Maryland Scenic Railway, which is in Cumberland, Maryland. Both of them are 3-hour train rides. We also have our Sips on the Susquehanna, which is with the Pride of the Susquehanna Riverboat in Harrisburg, the Queen of the Susquehanna Riverboat up in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. And then we've got a rather vibrant group and charter line, too.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So let's take it back from the beginning. Well, what spurred this?
So there's a story behind the story.
Yeah, you got to share it.
Right. So I grew up in Easton, Pennsylvania, and working in high school back in the 1980s, downtown Easton was a shithole. It was.
I've heard.
It was not a good place to be. I was working at a deli. And other than, the blue collar workers that would come in, there wasn't much going on in the city. It was, it was crime, it was drugs, it was, a lot of the things because everybody had left the cities back in the 80s. So fast forward probably about a decade later, there was a company that stepped into the city and really created change. So here's my trivia question for you.
All right, here we go.
Who is probably the best known company from Easton, Pennsylvania? It's not the baseball bats because that's Easton, Maryland.
Oh, you totally got me stumped.
Going to take you back to your childhood here.
Was it like Fisher Price?
Crayons.
Crayons, really?
Crayola Crayons.
Okay.
Is made in Forks Township, just on the outskirts of the city of Easton.
That's their main plant.
Yes.
I never knew that.
That's where the crayons come from. So they wound up buying a building in the square, tore it down, and built the Crayola Crayon Museum. And it's awesome. I would highly recommend for you to go there with smaller children because just going as an adult be a little creepy. But yeah. But it's a really cool place. You can make your own crayon. You got the Crayon Hall of Fame, and just
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I've taken my daughter there so many times. So they showed up, and then all of a sudden, stores and restaurants and galleries and all of these things happen, and now all of a sudden, Easton is this vibrant.
It's not a shithole anymore.
No, it's a destination. People love to go there. So I moved to York in 2001. I'm working for the DA's office in downtown York, and I'm like, oh, good God, here we go again, because York City wasn't doing too well.
Yours has gotten a bad rep, ladies and gentlemen. We're a big advocate on this show for it. We're a little biased, but it's not that bad. You should come visit.
No, absolutely. So yeah, stay with me on this. Yeah, but in the early 2000s, it wasn't a great place.
That's why, yeah.
So,
absolutely.
Because again, most people moved out of the cities. They went to suburbia, so there wasn't much left in the cities. So, as a nobody, at that point, I kind of remembered what happened back in Easton, and I started looking around going, where's the crayon? Somebody's got to be the crayon.
Yeah.
And I immediately recognized Harley, with their plant. They got the name, they got the brand, they've got everything you could possibly want as that hub, that seed. So again, as a nobody, I went to them and I told them the story. And I said, would you be interested in putting a museum in the city? And they said, no. And it wasn't because of the city. It was because they already had a museum in Milwaukee, and they didn't want to divide their stuff up.
It's a big hub over there for them, too.
Exactly. So, Harley went by the wayside, and I kept looking around going, where's the crayon? Where's the crayon? Where's the crayon? And I never stopped thinking about the crayon. So, fast forward to the what do we call them? The aughts? Is that what we call that decade now?
Is it like between
2010
and 20?
No, that's the 2000 and 2010, the first decade.
We'll call it the aughts.
Let's call it the aughts. I don't know.
I think the second time I ever heard that.
I might have just made that up.
Maybe first. I don't know. The aughts, though.
But, I left the DA's office. I got really involved in the community. And we had that whole revitalization that kicked off. And about 2005, 2006. And one of the things that came out of it was the first brewery in York since the 1940s. And that was Mudhook. So Mudhook opened their doors in 2011. And then another one opened up, and another one, and another one, and another one.
Two.
Yeah, and I'm kind of watching this going, man, craft beer tourism's a big thing. I've always enjoyed traveling around the country visiting breweries. And I said, somebody should be doing something about this. Nobody's talking about it. And I was that guy that constantly, hey, do you know how many breweries you got around here? Somebody should really be doing something about that.
Got a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
It's each are a little different than Flair.
Exactly. And Chrissy, again, God bless her heart, she got sick and tired of me talking about it because I was always talking about it. And she sat me down and said, either shut the hell up or do something
about it.
And I'm like, I guess I'll do something about it. So it was December 29th of 2017.
Okay.
As I like to say, with a beer in one hand and a pen in the other, in the back of the Revival Social Club, I sat down and wrote notes as to what brewery tours might be, but it wasn't brewery
at
tours.
The time. No,
it wasn't brewery tours. It was the York County Ale Trail.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just going to be a walking tour of York City is all it was going to be.
Well, you started small, and over time, we'll get into it, like how this thing is scaled.
Yeah. It's the tours took off, and they were really popular. So I'm like, I said, well, what if we include the rest of the county? And I'm like, well, how the heck are we going to do that? So I started looking at Mercedes Sprinter vans because I'm like, wow, they're really cool looking. And then I saw what the price tag was. That's not going to happen. So I'm like, what the hell are we going to do? I'm like trying to think. And all of a sudden we're like, well, what about one of those mini school buses? So by sheer luck, there was a farmer out in Hellam selling one. He had bought it from the Red Lion School District.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Backstory.
To carry his grandkids around, to go to Hershey Park or to go get some ice cream. And the kids have grown up and he didn't need the bus anymore. So I bought it off him.
That is a York County story if I've ever heard one.
Yeah. His name was Buzz. His name was Buzz.
Even better.
Buzz, you're still out there. Thank you.
Yeah, I bought this about 30 years ago. Grandkids go down by Hershey Park.
And people lost their minds about getting on this little short school bus. to go around and do breweries.
It's cool and quirky, but it's just
Yeah.
like going on a field trip like you're back in school.
That's right.
When you're excited to go to the field trip, you leave campus
Yeah.
and you go.
It was one of the best decisions we ever made, because if it was just another van or something like that, you're like, whatever. But you roll up in the school bus and people are like, damn, how do I get
I've never
on
even
that?
thought about that. It's probably a different kind of energy where people are getting giddy.
Yeah,
Like,
they
hop
do.
on.
Almost everybody gets like in their seats. You can see them jumping around. And go, oh wow, I know, this is awesome. So yeah, that's kind of where the bus kicked in, and then after that it was another conversation by happenstance of the Northern Central Railway. We were at some get together and we just started talking, and it was like, what if we did something together? And I was like, I don't know, I guess whatever, we'll give it a try, see what happens. And almost 4 years later of doing Ales on the Rails, it's one of our biggest events and it's one of their biggest events.
It's kind of crazy, Glenn, just in entrepreneurship. Sometimes the biggest thing is you just got to ask for permission, get the idea. So many people just get in their head like, I don't think it's going to work out with them. I'm not even going to ask them or approach them about this.
Yeah, I was reading something the other day, and it had something to do about failure.
Mm-hmm.
And it was that failure is not a bad thing. It's we all, I think, instinctively try to take a safe road because nobody wants to fail.
No,
but you want to fail. Not big, awful,
burnout,
burn everything
bankrupt,
to the ground,
go to
fail.
rehab failure.
Right. Yeah, exactly. But it's we've had a number of experiences that we've tried that fell flat on their face.
Yeah.
That are like, this is a great idea. I think it's going to be awesome. And I'm the only one that thought that, apparently.
And 5 people show up, not even.
Yeah, not even that.
Yeah.
And then other ones you go, I didn't see that coming. That's really taken off well. So it's sometimes you just throw it up against the wall and see what happens.
Great point that you just made. It's because sometimes too, it's like you said, you had a great idea. You thought it was be awesome.
Yeah.
Most of the time, whatever service or product you're offering, it's not really for you. It's for who's else out there. Are they really going to like it?
That's spot on. In a previous life, I was a DJ. And
you did tell me that before, but
yeah.
no, that's the second time you ever told me that.
Yeah, I
that's
had
cool.
In high school and then college, I was the guy doing the school dances. And
what was your DJ name?
Glenn Cannon.
Glenn Cannon.
It was. I took Cannon from a really popular DJ in the Philadelphia region back in the early '90s.
Oh yeah, DJ Cannon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I started my own company. That was my first company.
Mm-hmm.
That when I got out of college, I started what we were called as the Party Professionals. That was the name of the company. Yeah,
I love it.
And doing weddings and corporate events and all that bit. And one of the very early lessons you learn as a DJ, if you're going to be a DJ, is you play what the crowd wants to hear, not what you want to hear. Yeah. And that's the way it works. Otherwise, nobody's going to dance.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's just like one Jeremy Piven movie. He's a used car salesman, and Craig Robinson plays a character called DJ Request, but he doesn't request any. No one can request anything. He's like, no, I'm playing this.
It's what I want.
Yeah. But he's known as DJ Request in the movie.
That's hilarious. I'm gonna have to look that one up.
The Goods, Live Hard, Sell Hard. It was him coming off of like Entourage, kind of like B movie. Hilarious.
That's crazy.
DJ
Request.
Glenn Cannon. So that's where you got your entrepreneurial spirit at. That's kind of pretty cool looking back on it.
I think so. I think you're right about that. Yeah, you had to hustle. You had to, because there was so many freaking DJs out there. My God, it's like you had to differentiate yourself.
Yeah, it's the kind of thing too where it's like you know a guy.
Yeah.
Or this person tells me he's good. I'm going to go with him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a saying that I picked up a number of years ago, and it's called you throw your hat over the wall.
Okay.
And the concept of it is you throw your hat over the wall and you figure out how you're going to go get it. You know, I guess it was build your own parachute when after you jump off the cliff, you know?
Man, it's not the best advice, but like we do need to take it as entrepreneurs though, because we all throw our freaking hats like Odd Job and like James Bond.
Yeah.
We're just winging it sometimes, even if we think we got a plan.
Right, because I think you're never ready.
I don't care who you are.
Right? You know, is like at some time you just got to jump.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's either going to work out or it's not.
So when you're getting the walking tours together, how the hell you get these breweries to like initially sync up? Because that's a task in itself.
I didn't.
Well, we got a great lesson story coming from this then.
Oh my God. So yeah. So at that time it was either 5 or 6. I forget the number we had at that time. It was either 5 or 6 of them. I started going around and because I had spent time in their breweries before, so it wasn't like, you know, I was an absolute nobody, but I was just another guy drinking beer at their place. It meant nothing. But, you know, I said, hey, I got this idea. And one or two of them said, oh, okay, that's, you know, all right.
Yeah.
You know, others said, get the hell out of here. Expletive.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That it was a struggle. It was a real struggle. So, you know, if you think about it, I had a plan, a written down plan. Mm-hmm. I won't go as far as to say it was a business plan because it wasn't that sophisticated, you know, in December of 2017. And our first tour wasn't until October the following year. So it was not quite a year of, I got this idea, I'm trying to sell it to you.
Get the legwork together.
Yeah, and, you know, just banging my head against the wall, you know, until we eventually got to the point where a couple of them were on board. I wanted everyone to be in this.
Yeah.
I didn't want to say, okay, of the 6, I just need 3 of you, and the other 3, you know, I wanted everybody involved. You know, it was like I call it. I had this kumbaya idea that I wanted, which I no longer have. But we wound up having what would you call it? What's the mafia term? When you pull all
the 5 families.
Yeah, you pull the 5 families together. Yeah.
We got the cream ales over here. We got the sours over here down the street.
So we literally had a meeting at Liquid Hero. You know, it was closed. It was just us in there. So it was the heads of each family and me. And you know, I'm selling. I'm trying to sell this.
On how it's gonna bring value to them.
Yeah, and it was like, just give me 6 months. If you don't like it, then the hell with it. But just let me try.
Yeah, bring people in.
Yeah. And they said, all right, fine, we'll give you that. And they're all still on it 6 years later.
And the thing too, I'm just thinking, creatures of habit. When you go to a bar or brewery, typically when you find your spot, most people don't go to too many other spots.
You're right about that.
They're the creatures of habit, where you got these 5 or 6 breweries at the time.
Yeah.
Someone might frequent 1 or 2 places, but then it's just like, I don't want to check out this other one because, you know, it's like, might be cool, good beer, but I'm comfortable here.
Sure. I'm a mug club member over at ABC, so that's where I go because that's where my mug is.
It's where I belong.
That's right.
But when they do a tour, all of a sudden, like, wait, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Why didn't I come in sooner?
That's exactly right. And, you know, the focus of the tours were not so much local. We certainly love. That was the fourth wall. Is that what I'm supposed to do? We certainly love it. So I just watched the most recent Deadpool, so I'm up to date on my fourth wall things here. Okay, so we love local people coming on our tours, but the tours are really designed to get people from around the country to come on here and experience what we have. Because Central Pennsylvania, from a craft beer standpoint, there's no one in the country that competes with what we do. Yeah. Just nobody's saying it.
Correct. You and I have talked about that off camera, but that's a fun fact, folks. People think Asheville.
Yeah.
Asheville just market the hell out of it.
Yeah. Asheville.
Early.
Love Asheville. Asheville. So the little dirty secret about Asheville is they're 4 counties. So it's just not Asheville. It's 4 counties that make up the surrounding area.
It's like something triangle, they call it, I think.
Yeah. And I think last time I counted, they've got like 64 breweries, I think, something like that, which is awesome. Yeah. Great friggin' number, right? So here, get a load of this. Adams County.
Yeah.
Should I tell them?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to tell you guys. So Adams County, Cumberland County, Dauphin, Lancaster, and York. Okay, 5-county region, South Central Pennsylvania. Which, interestingly enough, if you pull back on the map, it almost kind of looks like a hop. But that's just me. It may be the voices in my head. But we've got 90. 90. That's
is that high?
That's
I knew it was
90.
pushing 60, 70s.
That's So
90. I would call it 90 plus because there's always something brewing.
Yeah.
Pun intended.
I'll put us up against Asheville. Now, hey, Asheville's got some really big names. I get it. That's cool. That's awesome. You can go see Sierra Nevada.
They got
and Wicked Weed.
And you got some.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Let's not downplay what this market has to offer.
You're absolutely right. So Trogs is the 25th largest brewery in the country. You've got some phenomenal smaller breweries. And, hey, I love the small guys. Because that's where, craft beer is really being created every day. So I would put our region up against anybody else anywhere in this country.
Well, really, other than here, Asheville, I know this area of California has like a kind of similar scene. But that's all I really know in terms of region.
There was a report that just came out at the end of July of 2024, in case when you're watching this. And it listed the top 15 beer cities in the country.
Uh-huh.
Lancaster was, I believe, number 6.
That makes sense. I'm sure they're factoring some of the side
Harrisburg
effects.
was number 10.
Oh, so they included both in there. That's great.
So Pennsylvania is the only state that had 2 cities in that list.
And 2 cities that are literally a stone's throw away from one another. Same region.
Yeah, exactly.
That you're talking about earlier.
Yeah, so Pennsylvania as a state, we kick ass. We kick ass.
I was about to say, I was going to take it back. Pennsylvania, for people out there not from here, you might not think about beer, but it really is. With Yuengling being one of the oldest.
Is the oldest.
The oldest in the country.
Is the oldest continuously operating brewery in the country.
Okay, there you go.
Now,
Fun fact.
I'll see you that, and I'll raise you one. So Pennsylvania is number 2 in the country for the number of craft breweries.
Okay.
We're only behind California, which is twice as large as us.
Yeah.
I think, right? We're number
larger economy too.
That's right, significantly larger. We are number 2 in the country for the production of craft beer. Only California produces more craft beer than us, and not by much. We're right up their ass.
I believe
on
it,
that.
Which is impressive, Glenn.
Yeah, and we're number 2 in the country for economic development, impacted by the craft beer industry. Mm-hmm. So Pennsylvania is a leader in craft beer for the entire country. This state is what was the governor's find your happiness here? I dare you to find your hoppiness here. Oh God! And so, on that note, I'm leaving.
We're gonna put a verbal trademark on that. If anyone,
that's right,
tries to infringe on Glenn Smith,
dude, that's our new T-shirt right there.
Find your hoppiness.
Find your hoppiness. Oh my God, I got to write that down.
Marty's gonna have it on camera. Okay. We're good. We might have to clip it out. It's too damn good.
We'll give you royalties on it. It'll be fine.
Perfect. Speaking of Yuengling, so my dad had a bar for 23 years down in Maryland.
Yeah.
He didn't carry Yuengling initially.
Wasn't allowed to.
And then it was not until like the early, like the aughts that you phrased earlier, where he started carrying it because people were asking about it because, 1, he was allowed to. 2, people lived up here or live around the Maryland line where they were familiar with the beer. This was before Yuengling made like a huge East Coast nationwide push.
That's right. Yeah.
Where he was one of the first bars in Baltimore City to carry Yuengling.
That's awesome.
Like 20-ish years ago.
Nice. Now,
give or take.
Now, what if you know this? What do they or what did they call it down there? So if I walked up to the bar and wanted one of those, what did I say?
People call it a Yuengling, but
okay,
I have heard there was a nickname for it.
Well, you always say it's a lager. I want a lager.
Yeah, no, people did say that. Now that you mentioned it, hey, can I get your lager? Like you have a local lager, and people consider that a local lager before microbrews and all that took off in this region.
I was down in Nashville. It was probably about 10 years ago now, at least. And I walked up to the bar. It was down on Broadway, one of those big bars. And I saw they had Yuengling on tap. So I walk up to the bartender and he's like, "What do you want?" I go, "I have a lager." He goes, "What?" I said, I'll have
Who?
I'll have a lager. He's like, I'm like, I know it's noisy. The band's playing. I said, I'll have a lager. He goes, dude, I have no idea what you're talking
He's probably got 3 or 4.
about. Well, no.
Oh, just Yingling.
But I go, Yingling. He goes, oh, all right.
Oh shit. Okay. I mean, I know that.
Like, it's a PA thing. It's like, you know.
It really is, though.
Yeah, you say lager in Pennsylvania and they hand you a Yingling.
Yeah, by
That's
default.
that's just the way it's
That's like if you're ordering like rail.
Yeah.
If I'm going to lager, it's a Yingling. Unless you want something specially, then that you go from there.
You better be specific if you don't want a Yingling.
Correct. It's like ordering a whiskey, a Coke. All right, you're just going to get whatever the house is. That's what Yingling is up here.
That's right.
So scaling. You've talked about where you're at now, where you started. How the hell do you do it, man?
I don't know. I'm probably going to be divorced by the end of the year.
Okay. Oh, shh.
The good news is we're engaged. We haven't officially gotten married yet. Yet I said yet. That's a huge challenge. The product that we've created is viable. It is scalable, and just it works. It friggin' works. But the problem is expanding it. And when you're, I've got a team of beer guides, which is great. I need more if we're hiring, by the way.
We've had one of your beer guides on before.
Yes, you have.
Mm-hmm.
Was that Corey?
Corey,
you had
yeah.
on? Yeah, Corey. Corey was he was our second beer guide that we ever hired. And he was very, very early on in the process. But I'm honestly not sure how I'm going to do it. It's become a real struggle. It's both in time, in resources, and having, well, I guess resources is monetary, as well as manpower, because I can't do it.
No, I really believe, Glenn, at a certain point, entrepreneurship and what you're building is bigger than you.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times, like I'm sure people are like, oh, Glenn, beer guy.
Yeah.
Attorney beer guy.
Yeah.
That's who you are.
That's what, yeah. People ask me, are you still practicing law?
People have asked me
Yeah.
about you. I'm like, yeah, he is.
Yeah, I'm still a lawyer. Yeah.
Somehow we're doing both hats.
Yeah. Yeah, but they say, we only ever see the beer side. I'm like, oh, well, that's...
I really don't need to promote the other stuff.
That's right.
But at some point, it becomes bigger than us.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're kind of at that moment right now where I see it. Mm-hmm. It's right over there. I can't quite get my hand on it yet, but I see it. I just got to figure out how to get over there.
Planning. Easier said than done.
Yeah.
In which you did a lot of that starting this. I know you constantly do.
It's, because I've talked with people about franchising. I don't know if that's the
an interesting concept though for this.
Yeah. Because, from a model standpoint, I could drop this into anywhere.
And give them a playbook, essentially. This is how you run it.
Yeah. Because, it's, I don't want to, McDonald's isn't a good
No, because their ice cream machines are never working.
Yeah, that's right.
But you actually want
I don't like their fries anyway, so.
Yeah, it hasn't been the same since they changed up the oil.
Amen. Good Lord. But at the same time, and your comment about it at some point becomes bigger than us. Here's my problem with that: is I have a hard time believing that anybody else cares for it as much as I do.
It's an ego thing, but it's a good thing.
Yeah, I have a hard time believing that anybody's going to do a tour as good as I do.
No, I think that's okay to think that.
Yeah,
because it's
now my beer guides are fantastic.
It's how much you give a shit about.
I'm a lucky man. Mm-hmm. I've got six. They're all guys right now. We would really love to have some of the ladies as beer guides, but they all just happen to be guys right now. That they all equally have a passion for craft beer, and that's necessary to do this. So I have entrusted my baby with them, and they've done a fabulous job. I have no complaints about any of them. They all on a weekly basis do fabulous jobs. We got a 5-star, almost 6 years running. Knock on wood, we're 5-star.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to do that.
Yeah,
between Google and these other platforms at the time. Because someone's going to give 3-star, 4-star.
Yeah, it's like even times. I don't know if the fellow by the name of Lou Bryson. I've become friends with. He's one of these beer gods up in the Pocono region, and him and I were talking about all we talk about is the good stuff, right? It's like, oh, this tour was fantastic, or this brewery was awesome, or whatever. But nobody ever talks about when shit goes sideways, And
That's so big.
Yeah.
I think more people need to be open as business owners and talking about some of the shitty stuff.
And we've had plenty of stuff go sideways. Those school buses sometimes break down, and they sometimes break down in the middle of a tour.
It's like, how do you handle that?
We had the last time it broke down. It was it was towards the end of the winter. It was ungodly cold out, and I think what happened was the diesel gelled in the bus. So I get this panic call from my beer guide going, the bus won't start. I go, what do you mean the bus won't start? It's got gas in it, right? He's like, yes, it has gas in it. I'm like, I'm just asking. And I'm like, fortunately I was in town, because I'm not always in town. So
traveling, doing another tour, or just traveling in general.
I'm trying to live somewhat of a life, I'm like, I'll be right over. So, I did everything I possibly could to figure it out. I'm not a mechanic. I don't know diesel. And we're not getting the bus running. And we still had one more brewery left on the trip. This was at the second location. So I'm like, shit. I called Chrissy and I said, can you bring your truck over? She has an SUV. And between the beer guide, me and her, we piled everybody into our 3 cars. And we went to the final
Finished
brewery.
the tour.
Yeah. And I will tell you, every single one of them gave us a 5-star at the end of it.
Yeah, because they probably didn't expect that at all. It's just like, oh, we'll give you, work something out, tour's over,
Yeah.
That's it.
It's like,
Sorry for the inconvenience.
Yeah, we were damned that it was going to end like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like, no. This
It's just going above and beyond.
Yeah.
And you have to.
Well, yeah, exactly.
What's been the most rewarding observation or just experience for you doing this the past couple years, Glenn?
There's a story that I love. I had a couple, and they were older by my standards, meaning they were older than me. And the wife wasn't drinking, and not required to.
Yeah, no.
But I kind of leaned over and I said, hey, is everything okay? And she said, I've never really liked beer. I bought this for my husband for his birthday because I know he enjoys these things. I said, that's great. So I said, well, what do you normally like to drink? And she said, I like fruity drinks. And I'm like, all right. So, she would be like a Captain and Pineapple kind of girl, or, something like that.
Something with a little spunk,
Yeah. So I said, all right. I said, hold on a sec. And I walked away, and I came back, and I had a glass, and I slid it over to her, and she says, what's this? I go, don't worry about it. I said, just try it. So she literally did one of these, where she took the sip, and she goes, and she's just staring out the window. And I'm like, first of all, I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm like,
someone who says they don't like beer.
Yeah, I'm like, you okay? And she's like, yeah. She goes, I like this. What is it? I go, it's a beer. And she stood up. She stood up and she goes, oh my God, I love beer. And it was amazing because she completely lit up. She bought a 4-pack of it to take home with her.
Crazy.
And that isn't the highlight for me. Mm-hmm. The highlight for me was now the two of them have something else in common to do together.
The bonding. Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Now they like beer.
Where it's like, honey, let's go try these fruity beers out.
Exactly. So
you like this label? I found this brewery has this.
It's like, hey, I want to go to a brewery. Oh God, we're going to another brewery.
I got another one.
It's like oh, maybe I'm going to find something there I like now.
Exactly.
And their life, I hope, has changed.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I was able to do that.
Beer is so communal. This coming from a bar background, it's just something about it that brings people together.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I intentionally wore this today.
Love is love.
Yeah, and it's everything. It's beer has the ability to bring everyone together, and
My dad always said, he told me growing up, Paul, people drink when they're happy, they're mad, they're sad, they're angry, married, divorce,
yeah,
have kids, you lose somebody,
that's right.
but they enjoy drinking and want to be around people just to bond, good,
That's
bad,
right.
or ugly.
That's right.
And it's a communal aspect in our society.
It very much is. We call them beer friends. Because people will get on, and quite often tours will be, a couple and a couple and a couple, and they don't know each other. And by the end of the tour, we've had plenty of times where they're exchanging phone numbers, saying, "Hey,
That's
we should
not
really
stuff.
get together," or whatever, because they went from not knowing each other to being friends, maybe acquaintances, whatever that term would be, and just because they all had this communal experience together. Yeah.
That's something to tap into a little further with the marketing. Even bringing people out of market, just bringing these local breweries and people together. Something
Yeah.
on the table. That's good.
Always thinking. Always thinking.
Well, Glenn, I know Marty's single for last call. Any thoughts
Oh, no.
on your end? Well, we can keep going a couple minutes, but what do you want to get off your chest?
I'm having too good of a time here.
I know, it's a fun format.
I know.
I love this.
This is better than talking to my priest.
Well, I am,
Hey, I can't smoke a cigar,
I am ordained.
Oh, brother.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, what else? What else? That's a good question.
What are you excited about? I know there's a lot going on right now, but really, looking past the forest.
I am really excited to further expand this Ales on the Rails, and the Sips on the Susquehanna. That name's going to develop because we can't do it strictly on the Susquehanna. There's lots of other rivers.
Are you going to wear like a
rivers
captain's
and
hat when you do that?
Well, yes. So
Please.
Yeah. So we've started kind of doing costumes on some of this stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
Marty, you're going to pull the B-roll up
Yeah,
for the one Ales for the Rails?
for the Oktoberfest one.
That was fun.
So this weekend, our Ales on the Rails is our mystery tour. So we decided that on all of our tours we teach people about beer.
Yeah.
About the different styles and what makes this, that, and the other thing, and ABVs and IBUs and everything else. And this tour, we're not telling them that. We're gonna have them, and we're gonna help them along the way. Of course,
Give them like clues.
Yeah, but we're gonna present a beer to them, and they're gonna have to kind of try to figure it out. What is it? And I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So we've got these we've all got these Sherlock Holmes hats that we're going to be wearing. It's going to be stupid as hell, but yeah. But we had Christmas in July. I was dressed up as Santa, and my beer guides were wearing elves costumes. There was almost a riot, but
Oh, really?
they didn't want to wear them.
No,
but
go ahead. You are wearing these. It is hot, though.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
probably felt.
It was warm. Yeah. It was warm. But yeah, I'm just really excited about trying to grow this business even further. Because it's something that I really believe is a national product, and that's the struggle is how do you go from, we're not even regional at this point. I don't think that qualifies as
You're getting there.
Yeah,
you're a hell of a lot more than just local.
we're in 2 states.
You're getting there.
Yeah, but going from being in 2 states to 50 states, is where we want to go. We want to be there.
I think as long as there's good local beer and a sense or opportunity to bring community together, Brewery Tours has a place.
Yeah. So maybe not Utah. I don't know, but yeah. I don't know how the Mormons feel about that.
Yeah, no, they're too busy soaking or whatever they call that term.
Yeah. But
Crazy kids.
At least 49 states.
Alaska's pretty cold, but I do hear they have some nice bars and up there.
They have some very good breweries up there.
That's
too.
what I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
A buddy of mine just got lunch with him. He was up there for about 2 weeks.
Nice.
I'm like, it looks like Seven Valleys, but with nice mountains.
Oh.
Well, Glenn, I mean, I ain't gonna keep it. This has been fun.
Thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this.
Oh, it's a fun format. I've known you for a while. I'm happy you had the time to hop on today. Talk about some good beer. Had some good beer.
Yeah.
So kudos to the chef. I know it's kind of like a partnership over there, collusion.
Oh yeah, it's all good.
You mentioned prototype too.
Yeah.
But really good. If you're looking for a tour, you got to go, the ultimate?
Yeah, ultimatecraftbeerexperience.com. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us walking the streets of York and Lancaster, and brew buses all over the place. Don't forget about the trains and the riverboats, but ultimatecraftbeerexperience.com.
Bam. I don't know.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.